Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to the extra time segment for Everton 2, Norwich City 0. Everton have gone joint second in the table, let's shall we say, with a 2-0 win. Not the most convincing 2-0 win, but a 2-0 win nonetheless. Joined by Owen and Terry. We're going to get straight into this. We'll start with you, Owen. What was your take on the Norwich performance?
Yeah, it was a comfortable 3 points, really. We didn't really have any issues in the game. Norwich didn't cause us any issues. They were very neat in possession and especially second half controlled the game well for their point of view. But we always had a bit more quality than them and we were better in both boxes. We needed the win, especially after going out in the cup, which is what it is really. And for me, more disappointing performance against Aston Villa in the previous week. But so yeah, good 3 points. Happy with the performance. I think we did well. I think a lot of things I haven't been happy with the last couple of games is how we've defended transitions when the teams broke on us, but Norwich didn't really do that. Plus, when they did, we recovered quite well. So the things that we could have improved on in the previous games, I thought we did. And yeah, decent performance. I thought. Nothing spellbinding or anything, but just a really good, solid 7 out of 10 performance. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't argue. A win's a win at the end of the day. Terry, your take?
Yeah, I mean, you've said it there, haven't you? A win's a win. You know, like considering the players that we had missing and the level, the quality of team we're able to put out. You can't take these games as granted, even if it is against Norwich. They've lost 16 games in the Premier League on the spin now, but I think the last away victory in the Premier League was against Everton at Goodison, the game that sort of sealed Marco Silva's fate. So you can never take it for granted. We're missing key players. But we did what was expected of us. To use Rafa's favourite words, we were nice and compact, defended well. Obviously, benefited a lot from Norwich's lack of quality in attacking areas. I think the only player who really stood out for me in the Norwich team was Max Aarons, which is the player you want to stand out against you because we're probably still thinking about buying him in the future. But yeah, I mean, penalty, dispatched by Townsend. It is a penalty. It looks harsh because he's already really fallen over, isn't he, when he gets kicked? But it doesn't mean that it's not an illegal move that he's done. He's swung out at him and got his knees, so it is a penalty. And then obviously a great opportunistic goal for the second goal to seal the points. Allen and Damari Gray together pounce on a mistake, a loose ball by Norwich, and away we go. And Doucoure again caps off another great performance, the man of the match performance for my money, with a well-deserved goal. So good day at the office, good 3 points on the board. You'll get tougher games than against Norwich, but they were in front of us, and we did what was needed.
Yeah, exactly. I think we got the results, and off the back of 2 defeats, that was disappointing. You needed it to bounce back. Whatever, you get it by hook or by crook. I think, and that's what we did. I think we obviously, like you say, got the penalty. It wasn't like the most stonewall penalty, but it was a penalty. And I think I'll be honest. Looking at him now, I'm astonished that Ozan Kabak was at Liverpool.
I'm stunned he's at Norwich. He should be playing for my local team who plays in the park now around the corner. He's absolutely horrendous. But I'm not surprised Norwich have bought him because they don't tend to buy good defenders. So Ben Gibson. Going well for him, isn't it?
To be fair, strictly speaking, they bought Godfrey from York City.
Yeah, okay, they had Godfrey, fair enough, but that's literally their only hit, isn't it? Who else? They just had
literally our only hit until this season.
Yeah, I don't know. I think all our centre-backs are at least decent. Well, they're a lot better than theirs, so.
Well, yeah. I think it'd be hard to be worse than theirs.
Yeah. No, I think all in all, Norwich have spent, don't quote me on this, about 40 million quid this summer. On who I don't know, but they've spent about 40 million quid. Even though they've just come up, we've spent 1.7 million, and that's really meagre in terms of what other Premier League teams have had to spend. So I see most results as a bonus, to be honest, because we're competing with such limited resources this season in terms of just what the rest of the league's got on offer. But here's what it is: you've got to find a way. We certainly did.
Yeah, obviously the penalty got us off to a good start. Well taken penalty. Obviously in the absence of about 3 of the main penalty takers, but Townsend did a good job of it.
I was worried he was going to miss, because Tim Krul's quite good at saving penalties, isn't he? So,
yeah, to be fair.
So yeah, well, he's a shining light for them. I don't think he's a bad goalie. I've imagined but you can't have less points. But I could imagine their situation would look even worse than it is if Tim Krul win and goal. Pookie's still as slow as anything. I mean, he can't run. I think we have a go with Tosin. I think Tosin would beat him in a race.
God. I mean, I think Sound and Rondon might
Steve Bruce on FIFA would beat him in a race.
Steve Bruce would be beating him to the ground.
Steve Bruce in real life would beat him, to be honest.
Did you see that Alan St. Maximin had tweeted FIFA, like saying, how come you've given me 91 pace but give Steve Bruce 99 pace?
He just bounces on the pitch like he's won the World Cup, hasn't he?
Yeah.
We're easily in mute.
Honest to God, that's one of the things that I think I'd like to see footage of Rafa Benitez doing that on FIFA. I mean, we certainly didn't get to see it in the shootout the other week, but yeah, be good to see if Rafa Benitez how he gives Brucey a run for his money on the pitch.
That video was the best. I know it's not, but that video was amazing. He's absolutely rapid, Steve Bruce on FIFA. Rafa spins onto the pitch, and the players running alongside him, and he just leaves them for dead, doesn't he?
The funny thing is, I think it linked to Everton, Shaw Longstaff, like running like a slug, and Steve Bruce is like bombing on. Which wouldn't surprise me at all in real life, but that's
what I love about that though is if St. Maximin has saw it on Twitter, then obviously the whole Newcastle training grounds have seen it, which means Steve Bruce may have seen it.
I reckon Steve Bruce is secretly getting ripped over that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're all going, let's have a race, Steve, and all that.
Races to Grex.
Mike Ashley's taking bets on it to make more money. What were we talking about? Norwich team. Yeah, he's not very quick and he's not very good.
Yeah, someone who has turned out to be quite quick and quite good this season is Doucoure. Obviously, he got his the second goal. I think for me, I gave him the man of the match. Not sure if you guys second that or if
man of the match for every game he's been at Everton, to be honest.
Certainly this season, I think he's been rare.
He's been really good. Special shout out to someone on Twitter who won't name, probably for legal reasons, who thinks he's the worst midfielder we've ever bought and he's rubbish and this, that and the other. Well, that certain person does not know a lot about football if he thinks that, because his head's completely in the sand and Doucoure is brilliant.
Yeah, I think he's definitely the midfielder we haven't had for a long time. I think he's picked on even more this season. Added a couple of goals in there, took that finish really well. Like, we haven't seen a midfielder finish like that for some time, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's changed his position, Benitez, hasn't he, this season? He, after a fashion on paper, it doesn't look he hasn't, but clearly Ancelotti saw Doucoure's physicality and his presence and athleticism in the middle of the pitch and decided, right, he's going to be like a security policy for the right flank of the team, because we started off with James and Coleman, and that left defensively quite weak, because Coleman couldn't get up and down like he used to, and James just didn't defend. He didn't, did he? So we had Doucoure in like the middle three on the right-hand side to sort of cover that area And then when he stopped playing James on the right, he still used Doucoure in that sort of shielding role as a double pivot, whereas Benitez has come in and said, right, well, that's a complete waste. We're going to use him the same way he was used at Watford when he came to the Premier League, not like towards the latter stages when he was playing like number 10 in a 4-2-3-1, but that's sort of box-to-box, breaking the lines, side of midfielder, and it's getting the best out of him at the minute. He, arriving into the box with the ball or even without the ball, he's so effective, and it just shows he is, for me, the least replaceable player in our team. We struggle a lot without him. When he got the injury, the wheels came off our season last season, and it just goes to show that I think it's one of the ones Ancelotti got wrong, was being too conservative with Doucoure. He could have used him in a much more attacking capacity and got a lot more out of him.
Not just that though, Terry. I think a lot of the time when Doucoure was playing in the team, he was playing next to, I think it was Gomez or Davis or even sometimes Sigurdsson in the two, and we were being exposed a lot defensively if he hadn't sort of refined his game a bit. And I think if you remember the first couple of weeks of the season, he was quite attacking. He scored against Fulham in that, and he did well, I think, in the game against Brighton and that. But then as the season went on and we lost Arlan, especially for that month, Doucoure played a bit more of a defensive game, which he isn't great. I think Sanchez Flores tried to play him deeper at Watford and it didn't really work. And then Nigel Pearson came in and played him further up, and he did get better. He's still more of an 8 than a 10, but he suited that a lot more than he did what Sanchez Flores was doing. So yeah, I think Doucoure, this is the role that suits Doucoure, but I think we can only let him play as much if Alan's in the team who can cover and win the ball back when teams break, because without that, Gomez and Davis, they just don't have the same physicality in defence.
It's definitely dependent. We need more depth. We've said this hundreds of times, and it's the reason we're already out of the cup. It's the reason we probably got beat against Villa as well. It's the lack of squad depth is going to do us in, unless we get a couple of loans in January or something. I can't see us lasting the full season in decent form.
The thing with that cup game, though, QPR are a really good championship team. They'll probably be in the top 6 this season for my money. And apart from Dean, did we have that much of a better team out than QPR?
No.
I mean, so are we totally surprised it went to penalties? I think John Joe Kenny wouldn't be on QPR's bench, I don't think. But
the problem is, now this doesn't mean anything, but it should do. Sort of, we had a much more expensive team out. The fact that Andre Gomez is a 20+ million pound midfielder, Portuguese international we bought from Barcelona, and he looks out of his depth against QPR. It's frustrating, isn't it?
Well, I've been saying that for years about him, but there you go.
But
what else Bernard doing in the middle of nowhere?
He had a short run. He had a short run as the best player in that league, and now James is there. He's not even that anymore.
No, yeah. Come to Everton, you'll get a nice payday after.
Play your card right here, you'll get a nice payday for doing sod all.
Except Delph, who still lingers on.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot he exists, and then I just mentioned his name.
You shall not be named.
Yeah.
He just can't be bothered, though, can he?
Yeah, with regards to players you impressed, Doucoure, obviously I gave him man of the match. Is there anyone else who springs to mind?
Andros Townsend, I think he was excellent. I thought he gets up and down well. I think for a free transfer, as much as Terry might protest, we cannot complain with what we've got from Andros.
The next segment, but to answer your question, Yerry Mina would be in for the honourable mention for me as well.
Yeah, I think he was.
He's not a right back either.
No, he's not.
No.
I think Mina was head and shoulders, well, literally above the entirety of our other defenders on Saturday. Godfrey, I think, is like you say. I think Godfrey's being sold short by being played out of position. But again, the axe falls on Marcel Brands for not signing a blooming right back.
Don't start me on. Don't start me on the world-class director of football Everton employ.
The world-class director of football who doesn't direct any right-backs onto the roster.
No, well, another. Before we finish, I think can safely say now that Jordan Pickford's become a really good goalie, not just with making big saves, but it takes the sting out of a game now. His distribution, which really did go off the boil about a year ago, it's got much better now, and he's collecting his distribution, his saving. He's become a really good goalkeeper within the last 8 months or so.
Definitely, I think since the turn of the year, since like Christmas, he's really picked up.
Since that Leicester game where he dropped one in his net, where we drew 1-1. Since that game, he's been really good.
Yeah, I think that's probably the last time I've seen him make a proper full-on error. But yeah, I think that's always good to see. But also, I think having a better defence in front of him always does him favours. And I think we just need to get our best 11 out there again. I think, as much as we shouldn't really be playing Seamus Coleman, we need him back because he's all we've got of any kind of quality in that position.
Yeah, onwards and upwards anyway.
Yeah, certainly. We'll just finish off by discussing obviously Rafa Benitez and like how he sort of delivered. You've got 4 wins out of 6, 13 points out of 18. Was that kind of what you were expecting from a favourable like start to the season calendar? Like, but is that about right? Do you think?
I wasn't expecting that of any manager, whether it been Carlo, if he'd stayed there, or Rafa, or anyone who'd come in with just through the limited resources we've got. I think we've spent less than anyone else in the league this season. We've lost a big player, in my opinion, in Hammers. So I arguably, are we that much stronger? I don't know, but I just think now. I think he's done really well in getting out a lot out of very little, and I think he was very clearly the right choice in the summer for many people protested and who wanted this big fancy name who's going to work wonders from 1.7 million. It just doesn't exist. I think Everton was realistic and pragmatic in how they approached the situation in the summer, in a very difficult situation. I think they did really well. And fair play to the powers that be who sorted that out and got definitely the right man for the job.
Yeah, I think that's one thing I will say is he's definitely the best. That I think what we've needed more than anyone. I think we haven't had this since David Moyes. I don't think is a manager who can make a team. Like you say, I think it's actually on paper weaker than last season. Having told James Rodriguez, I think for me, this team it's still pretty limited, and I think we've needed a manager, and I think Benitez, like I say, the first since Moyes to make a team here greater than the sum of its parts. Whereas I think too often in the past it's been a case of players being less than the sum of the parts, to be honest, under other managers. I think it's definitely going more towards what maybe David Moyes done here under Benitez.
Yeah, he's definitely doing really well.
Yeah, he's got. I think he's just like you say. I think he's getting an extra 10% out of everyone. Across the board, that's going to make a difference. It's something we haven't had from previous managers.
Yeah, he's always been a really good manager. Never had any issues with him. When people kicking off in the summer, I can proudly say I win one.
Yeah, he's, despite being an ex-Liverpool manager, he's actually a really good fit for what we need and the players we've got, the financial situation we're in, everything. He fits very well, and he's not had it easy. Like, you look at the games, go, who's he played? Go, yeah, but who's he had to pick from? He's lost, Richarlison, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, James Rodriguez has been sold, whether that's, partly his doing or not. Like, he's lost, that he's not play, and then another player who we won't name. There's 4 massive players from last season's team who haven't been haven't been available to him for the bulk of this season. And he still managed to get results without them. So, credit to him. Like, fantastic performance so far to get results under those circumstances. He's not had it easy. And I'd just like to say with Owen as well, I've never actually been against Benitez. I thought it was the right choice. I was against some of his signings, though, which we'll come on to next. But Benitez himself, I've always thought he was a good manager, and I thought he'd do well here if we'd let him. And, it's looking so far so good. But people say, you don't like him. No, I don't. It's not that I don't like Benitez. I don't like some of the signings he's made, which we will discuss in due course.
We will in due course indeed. So we're going to wrap this one up anyway, guys. Everton 2, Norwich 0. Let us know your opinions on the Everton win over Norwich City. That takes us to 13 points out of 18. Let us know how you think we're getting on through the season. Like we say, how you think Benitez is doing in the early weeks of the season. And, of course, give the video a like, subscribe for more content. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching on the Toffee Blues.